I'm a running mate begins at Yongjin High School amidst the buzz of election fervor, only to take us back 33 days before the fateful D-Day, introducing us to No Sehun, a paragon of academic excellence within the school's halls. Just a couple of days prior, Sehun found himself in an excruciatingly embarrassing predicament on a school bus, an incident that earned him a cruel moniker among his peers, Mr. Hard-On. Despite his inherently reserved nature, the ordeal, coupled with the circulation of compromising photos, has left him in a constant state of humiliation, even from Ha Yu-gaeong, the object of his affection, and Park Ji-hun, his closest confidant. Sehun's participation in the school choir is less about a passion for music and more about finding solace in the tranquility that washes over him as he watches Yu-gaeong's fingers dance across the piano keys. Following a choir rehearsal, Yang one day, the choir captain, extends an invitation for dinner, during which he propositions Sehun to become his running mate in the impending school council elections, naming him as his vice presidential candidate. One day masterfully persuades Sehun, portraying this opportunity as the golden ticket to rehabilitate his tarnished reputation. Sehun's heart swells with gratitude, feeling acknowledged at last. The subsequent day, amidst the harmonious echoes of the choir, his mind wanders to his solemn vow to restore discipline to the school and the unspoken longing to confess his feelings to Yu-gaeong. However, just as Sehun and Gaeong-tae are instructed to remain behind for causing a ruckus during practice, one day summons Sehun to an urgent meeting, abandoning Gaeong-tae to the solitary chore of cleaning up. Later, after their intense cram session, Ji-hun and Sehun bump into Sang-hyun. With a cheerful demeanor, Sang-hyun extends an invitation to them for a mouth-watering chicken feast. Initially hesitant, Sehun wonders if Sang-hyun harbors some hidden agenda, having heard whispers that is in search of a running mate. However, as they indulge in their meal, the ice between them thaws. The hours slip by as they laugh, share anecdotes, and savor every bite, discovering that Sang-hyun is surprisingly approachable and down-to-earth. To his friends, Sang-hyun even proudly introduces Sehun as his younger brother, fostering a sense of camaraderie. The next day at school, Sehun's admiration for Sang-hyun soars when he witnesses him sternly disciplining a group of boys caught smoking in the bathroom. Among them is Choi Jang-soo, an elementary school acquaintance who, in a fit of disdain, belittles Sehun by labeling him insignificant. Walking alongside Sang-hyun, Sehun basks in the admiration of his peers, feeling a newfound sense of importance. Furthermore, thanks to Sang-hyun's intervention, who happens to be the son of the school's Parents Association head, Sehun effortlessly transfers to a more prestigious class at the cram school, free of charge. His mother, upon learning of Sang-hyun's father's involvement, suggests that Sehun embrace the role of his running mate. Meanwhile, Gaeong-tae's resentment towards Sehun intensifies. Fury gnaws at him, knowing that one day chose Sehun over him despite a year of loyal service. Adding insult to injury, another top student reveals that one day had also approached him, only to be rejected. Later, the election supervisor beckons Sehun to her office. There, he learns a revealing fact. One day had requested a list of top performers from her, adhering to the school's regulation that the president and their running mate must boast high academic averages. This revelation paints a picture of a strategic move amidst the ongoing election drama. With Sehun occupying the 12th spot in his class rankings, one day embarked on a mission, approaching a dozen of his peers to seek their companionship in a running club before finally turning to Sehun. This sequence of events made it evident that Sehun was, in fact, one day's 12th and final choice. Adding fuel to the fire, the teacher revealed that Sang-hyun had actively expressed his desire for Sehun to be his running mate, voicing genuine interest and later expressing disappointment at missing out on him. Stung by this revelation, Sehun left the library with a sense of insult and underappreciation lingering heavily in his heart. The teacher's mention of Sang-hyun's sincere interest served only to deepen Sehun's wound, painting a vivid picture of being considered a lesser option. Sehun, ignoring one day's persistent calls, goes to find Sang-hyun, driven by a mixture of hurt pride and the quest for validation. 26 days prior to the eagerly anticipated student council elections, Sehun, accompanied by Jung Hui, now stands as the vice presidential partner to Sang-hyun. Jun Gyu, the election supervisor, summons them to an office meeting. With his complete team comprising 2 running mates, Sang-hyun is solidified as candidate number 1. One day, who has only Yu Gaeong by his side, is given a week by Jun Gyu to recruit a male representative for his campaign. Since Sehun's decision to switch sides, he has shunned all communication with Day One, ignoring his repeated calls. When they cross paths at the election office, Sehun is gripped by a sudden panic attack. Following school, Sang-hyun and his close friend Amine whisk Sehun away for some much-needed fun and relaxation. As they dine out, Sehun eventually succumbs to one day's persistent calls, fabricating a tale of lifelong camaraderie with Sang-hyun to justify his decision to join his campaign. Later, Sang-hyun presents Sehun with his cherished smartwatch as a gift, which deeply touches Sehun, fostering in him a sense of appreciation and confirming his belief in Sanghain's goodness. The next school day dawns with Yu Gaiyong confronting Sehun about his actions, recommending her to one day only to abandon them later. Steadfast in his silence, Sehun refuses to explain himself to her, insisting he has remained loyal. Sehun affirms his commitment to the choir, clarifying that his involvement in the elections is separate from his passion for music. After Sehun exits the conversation, Yu Gaiyong observes Jihan's burgeoning popularity among the student body, prompting her to approach him with a proposal to consider running for the school council. As the school day drew to a close, Sanghain thoughtfully proposed to Sehun that they engage in a heart-to-heart chat to dispel any lingering misunderstandings. Sehun, however, overheard a snippet of conversation between One Day and Yu Hyan, realizing with some relief that they weren't upset about his change of heart. In fact, Yu Hyan saw his departure as a positive move, and they had already lined up other prospects to consider. Sehun decided against initiating a conversation with One Day. Later, at Sanghain's family restaurant, Sehun and Zhonghui convened to brainstorm campaign strategies. Sanghain was genuinely impressed by their ideas but harbored concerns that Sehun's pledges might overlap with what he had discussed with One Day earlier. Sehun confidently assured him that his plans were unique and presented screenshots of their exchanges as tangible proof. With just 24 days left until the election, a sudden conflict erupted between Gyeong Tai and Sehun. A derogatory sketch of Yu Gaiyong, which Gyeong Tai had created during one of their choir sessions, was discovered tucked away in the music files. Unbeknownst to him, Sehun had inadvertently left the picture behind, and Gyeong Tai's name was scribbled on the reverse side. Gyeong Tai escaped severe disciplinary action and offered his apologies to Yu Gaiyong. Gyeong Tai confronted Sehun, accusing him of snitching and betraying One Day's trust. As a result, Sehun earned himself a new, unflattering nickname among his peers, the Rat, while Gyeong Tai was tagged as the Pervert. As the election for the choir captain commenced, One Day put forth Sehun as the ideal candidate for the upcoming term. His rationale stemmed from Sehun's consistent early arrivals to the choir room, where he diligently tied it up. One Day emphasized that unlike in the student council, personal rivalries during school elections should not bear grudges, fostering an environment of unity. When no one else volunteered to oppose Sehun, the teacher graciously invited him to address the assembly. As Sehun ascended the podium, One Day magnanimously declared that he had forgiven him, a gesture that endeared One Day to the students for advocating on behalf of his competitor. Sehun's speech commenced with a confession of embarrassment, stating that being considered for the captaincy solely based on his early bird tidying habits seemed unworthy. He perceived it as an injustice to fellow choir members who shouldered more substantial responsibilities, such as those who organized musical scores, distributed snacks, managed group communications, edited videos, and even played the piano with consummate skill. Sehun expressed his disappointment with One Day's endorsement, highlighting his own musical inadequacies and self-proclaimed tone deafness as unsuitable traits for a choir captain. He then nominated Yu Jun, praising his loyalty, exceptional vocal talent, and unwavering passion for music. Prior to his speech, Sehun had received a message from Jihan, announcing his decision to support One Day as his deputy. Sehun submitted a heartfelt withdrawal application from the choir captaincy. He reflected on the joy derived from the applause for his diligent efforts, but expressed a desire to step aside before his efforts became the sole focus of admiration. Sehun chose to exit gracefully, while his applause was still resounding, ensuring his legacy was not defined solely by his labors. 22 days before the elections with Jihan and Sehun discussing Jihan's decision to become One Day's running mate. Although Sehun is irritated, he is not angry with Jihan, and their friendship is still solid. Later, Sanghain invites Sehun to his birthday party. A driver drops Sehun off at Sanghain's apartment later that night. Apart from Mayane and Zhonghui, Sehun does not know most of the people at the party. Sanghain introduces Sehun and Zhonghui to everyone as his running mates, and the party continues. Everyone is drinking, so Sehun is also offered alcohol. He turns it down, and Sanghain stands with him, saying he is coming from cram school and cannot go home drunk. However, one of Sanghain's friends, Hosuk, murmurs that Sehun is a fool. Sehun takes his words to heart and decides to gulp down a mug of alcohol to prove Hosuk wrong. Hosuk does not like Sehun and keeps trying to pick a fight by subtly insulting him throughout the party. Sehun angrily lunges at him, and they almost fight, but Jaewon stops it. Sehun gets drunk at the party. When he wakes up the next morning, Mina is in bed beside him. Sehun vaguely remembers Mina helping him to bed the previous night, but has no idea if anything happened between them. At school, Sehun tells Jihan about the party and makes him promise not to tell anyone. However, Gyeong Tai is listening to their conversation in the shadows. Sehun's class supports Sanghain's campaign. Hyun-jin shows the posters she made to the classroom, and they are impressed. She invites the whole class for burgers after school, and they all agree to join her. However, Gyeong Tai and Ui Jun say they have choir practice, so they cannot join them. Sang Hyen's campaign kicks off with the help of other students, especially those in Sehun's class. With the posters approved, Jaewon skips school by pretending to be sick and picks up the posters from apprentice. The students put up the posters in school and then enjoy burgers and soda. Sehun brightens up during the campaign, and his enemies are not happy. Later that day, Jong-soo and his gang of delinquents pull him into a dark room in the school. They harass him, reminding him that he is nothing. They warn him to think about his school life after the seniors leave, vowing that they will keep bullying him even in their senior year. On the way home, Jaewon notices that Sehun is downcast. He sees the marks on Sehun's neck and realizes that someone bullied him. Jaewon reminds him that he is running for vice president and should not let others bully him. Meanwhile, one day and his team see Sang Hyen's posters all over the school. Sang Hyen started the campaign before the given timeline. One day is unbothered and strictly tells his team to follow the campaign protocols set by the school. He is the current vice president and has gone through the elections, so he is confident he has better chances. 16 days before the elections, the police arrive at the school in the morning. One day gets picked up for questioning, but nobody knows why the police came for him. Later that evening, Ji-hun insists that Sehun accompany him for a meal after he finishes his choir meeting. However, Sang Hyen calls Sehun to join the team for a photo shoot and more campaign discussions at his family's hotel. Sehun calls Ji-hun between meetings and sees him in a restaurant across from Sang Hyen's. Ji-hun has a birthday cap on, and Sehun realizes that Ji-hun insisted they have a meal because it was his birthday. Ji-hun has to join his classmates for cake, so he shortens their call. Sehun sadly watches from across the river as Ji-hun enjoys his birthday party with other students, and he is called back to continue their campaign meeting. 12 days before the elections, Jong-soo and his delinquents join Sang Hyen's campaign as security. That happened after they had a meeting with Jaewon for harassing Sehun. Later, Sehun and Jong-hui meet up with Sang Hyen to discuss campaign pledges. Jong-hui has done more research by email to over 100 schools to get the winning pledges of the previous year's winning campaigns. Sang Hyen likes Jong-hui's dedication, so he resolves that she work on pledges with him while Sehun checks out spots for the banners during the campaign. Sehun feels insignificant in the campaign because everyone else does a more professional job than him. Hyun-jin makes better posters than him, so the team approves hers while they laugh at his designs. Later at school, the news reports that a famous voice phishing scammer was arrested. One Day had run into the man when he crashed his truck after drunk driving. The reason why the police picked One Day was so that the police could award him the Brave Citizen Award. The event makes One Day more famous in school, which affects Sang Hyen's campaign. Sang Hyen and Sehun are upset because they were worried for nothing. Sehun feels jealous and wishes that One Day had been arrested for losing his temper. We see both teams gearing up for the official launch of their school election campaigns, each brimming with excitement as they put the finishing touches on their strategies, down to selecting a spirited fight song. WN-sik takes the helm as the leader of Sang Hyen's team, while Uijun assumes the role of the lively cheerleader for One Day's campaign. On the school bus, Sehun bumps into MINA, and their conversation drifts to Sang Hyen's festive gathering at the park. MINA clarifies any misconceptions, reassuring him that nothing significant transpired between her and Sehun. However, in a playful moment, she gives Sehun an accidental peck on the cheek and teasingly promises him that something meaningful will unfold should Sang Hyen emerge victorious in the elections. 6 days prior to the polls, both teams unveil their official campaign posters, setting the stage for an intense rivalry. Jong Gyu and the student council officials officially commence the campaigns by granting both teams permission to hold a rally on the opening day. Unfortunately for Sehun, he dozes off on the bus, arriving late to school and realizing too late that he had left his campaign uniform behind. Desperate, he makes do with the school tracksuit. During the rally, One Day's team demonstrates remarkable preparation, capturing the crowd's enthusiasm with a dynamism that outshines Sang Hyen's efforts. Ji-hun's performance, in particular, leave an indelible mark on the student audience. When the first day performance statistics are announced, One Day commands a healthy lead with a 65% support rating. With a winning streak in sight, One Day's team devises a strategy centered around sincerity and practicality, targeting classes that have shown the highest support. They recognize the power of word of mouth and plan to mobilize their supporters to reach out to even more students, ensuring their momentum continues unabated. On the flip side, In-gyeon instills a victorious mindset into Sang Hyen's team following their defeat on the inaugural day. Their strategy is to ignite a confrontation with One Day's team and secure victory by any means necessary. Subsequent to the meeting, In-gyeon seeks a private conversation with Sehun, as the photograph from his unfortunate bus incident resurface once more. She persuades him to alter the narrative by harnessing the potency of rumors. She urges him to consider any leverage they might wield against One Day and Ji-hun. As the school day draws to a close, Sang Hyen exhorts Jong-hui and Sehun not to be disheartened and to embrace the winning attitude imparted by In-gyeon. He then cautions Sehun to refrain from bringing him shame. Sehun accompanies Jong-hui to purchase makeup, and despite their continual bickering, a bond between them is forming. After Sehun boards the bus for home, Tayo calls him with crucial news, only to postpone the discussion until the next day at school. Unbeknownst to Sehun, a man on a sleek black motorcycle stealthily approaches, striking him with a vehicle and speeding away as he loses consciousness. Sang-hyun accompanies Sehun to the hospital, joined by his anxious parents. Soon after, Jae-won arrives, furious and concerned that someone deliberately hammed Sehun. One day enters the scene shortly thereafter, having received a police call about a schoolmate admitted to the hospital following an accident. Upon his arrival, One Day's leg is visibly bleeding, which he attributes to a fall and scrape incurred while rushing to the hospital upon hearing the police call. Jae-won and Sang-hyun grill him about his journey to the hospital and inquire about the color of his motorcycle. We then see One Day questioning what implications Sang-hyun and Jae-won are suggesting, as the atmosphere thickens with tension.